Didn't need it. Tim has
How
won
many? What did he play?
7
Games.
7 Super League Dream Team appearances.
Oh, how many appearances? Okay.
Yeah. 7. That's quite
6
impressive.
more than he should have done, really.
Okay, so Tim wins the quiz by 4-0, which I guess gives a little bit of pride to the people east of the river. The only pride that they'll be able to recover over this upcoming April period, because there's no chance of making revenge for the earlier Derby defeat this season, because there'll be no Good Friday.
Well, there will be a Good Friday. There just won't be any matches.
That's all. I mean, obviously, Sarah, your Easter means different things than my Easter, but my Easter means rugby league, so there's no Good Friday. Might as well
Only
go to
bad
bloody
Fridays,
work.
Unless Saints beat you, and then there's still no Good Friday.
Do you know what? To be honest, even though it matters whether we win or lose on Good Friday, I actually enjoy it either way, weirdly. No other Derby game in the season do I come out with any sort of ability to enjoy it either way. I guess because we won every one from 2010 to 2018 inclusive. No, 2017 inclusive, sorry. You know, we won a week of Good Fridays and then some, and so because of that, maybe I'm less emotionally attached to the result and more enjoy the occasion. But we all love a Derby day, don't we?
Oh, yeah.
No, hate them.
Do you?
Yeah. Feel absolutely sick. Especially when it's over there. Ugh.
Wow. Actually, this makes sense, thinking about it, because Tim doesn't live in Hull. I don't live in Wigan. So you live in Hull, so it's different, isn't it, I guess, because you have to rub shoulders with these people at school the next day, at rugby training the next night, and everything else.
Yeah, both of Joshua's coaches are Rovers fans.
Yeah.
But it's also, it's travelling across the city. It's travelling down Preston Road. It's walking down there. Ugh.
You just get sick of the thought of getting into that wind tunnel.
Oh, it's horrible. And then you're always scared that there's going to be trouble, which there invariably is. And it's the most ridiculously, stupidly arranged ground in the history of ever.
That you've got half the away
It's definitely a ground and not a stadium, I'll give you that.
But as if you make the Rovers fans walk in front of the Hull fans to get out the ground. They should be forced out the other way. It's just going to cause trouble when there's so many drunk idiots there.
I just love Derby Day.
I've been
the
waiting
nerves
for a
and
number
the sickness, but
yeah, I can't wait for one when Coventry haven't got. Unfortunately, for the last 3 years, and this year would have been, Coventry have had a game scheduled on Good Friday, so I haven't been able to go up. But I've been dying to take Heather up and show her the full extent of the madness, because I think that's when she'll truly understand it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, even at our place this year, there were idiots trying to cause trouble, throwing things after the match, trying to start a stampede.
Oh.
But at least it's not the one where it was the playoff game. That was the worst one.
Which one was that?
Oh,
You mean at Boothbury Park?
No, after that. Is that 2008?
When at your place?
Yeah.
When Vicona and the like were still playing?
Hang on.
No, that was 97. That was the first one.
No.
That was again.
That was what? Sorry, Sarah.
That was the first lot after they got promoted back into the old First Division.
Bloody hell.
So
yeah,
that was
going back some way.
When what was that other division? The Nord. It was the year before it became the Northern Ford Premiership or whatever.
Yeah, and a couple of years before you stole Gateshead's place in Super League.
Yeah, whatever.
2010.
I probably wouldn't have been there, given that Joshua was born. Oh no, Joshua was born in 2009, so I maybe would have been there.
Wow, do you know it's interesting. It always amazes me when we have a totally different experience of something so similar. I always find it so interesting. Maybe in upcoming shows, because I'm guessing over the next week again. Last week we talked about some of the matches that we've watched back from last week. People have watched back. It's derby games. It's the Easter period coming up, isn't it? So
yeah.
I think probably our match review sections over the next week or two will be dominated by Good Friday matches or Easter weekend matches and that sort of stuff. So it'd be great to hear more people's favourite derby matches between them and their local rivals and all those sorts of things as we do that. Right, I think we should probably wrap up the show, given that we've chatted about hookers for an hour and a half nearly. So hopefully no one's been listening too closely to what we've had to say, because I don't think we should say the word hooker this many times in such a short period of time, unless we're on the Vice squad. So instead, let's move into the wrap-up. So with the quiz out of the way, the wrap-up is more about any other business, our recommendations. And so we're going to talk a little bit about our life in self-isolation. And Sarah, I want to come to you first, because I guess your life is probably a little bit more hectic than mine and Tim's, given that you've got the 3 children, and the very energetic 3 children, in particular our young friend Joshua, the halfback of the future. So how are things at the Scoots house, and how is Joshua getting that rugby energy out?
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge having 3 children who are used to lots of physical exercise. So a normal week has swimming, ballet, tap, modern dance, jiu-jitsu, and obviously the rugby, as well as their normal PE at school. So it is a massive change. Thankfully, last week the weather was quite good. We don't have grass in our garden, so that's a slight downside. But we did take over the 10-foot, which I'm sure you don't actually know what a 10-foot is, given that you don't live in Hull.
Is that sort of opposite the front of your house where there's a piece of grass?
No.
No, you call
like
it an alley or a ginnel.
Oh, okay, an alleyway, yeah.
But it's 10 foot wide, which is why it's called 10 foot.
Okay.
But that runs down the side of our house and backs onto the people living round the corner, but they're all old and retired type age, so they don't use it. So my children have been using that a bit for scootering and such like. Our daily exercise is normally walking around to one of the big playing fields behind our house, and some form of rugby taking place there.
So Josh is keeping up his kicking training and all of that?
Yeah, and his coaches have been really good and uploaded some drills for them to be trying on Facebook.
Have you had him trying any of the challenges that the players are putting on the social media or anything along those lines?
He's been doing some of the, I don't know if it's the Rugby League Foundation or Rugby League Cares, maybe they've been putting up a different skill each week.
Oh, yeah.
So he's been doing those. And unfortunately, Davey's coach put a challenge on for them today, which involves holding the ball at the top, so the ball's underneath your hand, and swapping it from one hand to the other without dropping it.
Oh, God.
But Joshua's hands are so small, he can't actually hold the ball at that point.
Get a smaller ball.
Yeah. That's
deflate the ball a little bit.
So Joshua found a really flat ball and he decided he was going to try it with that.
There you go.
Yeah, so I think my highlight, although my husband might kill me for telling you this story, but we were at the field the other day and he wasn't very impressed with Joshua's swan dive, so decided to do his own and nearly broke his arm.
Oh, God. Not what you need in lockdown.
So it was particularly amusing.
Excellent stuff. Tim, how are things progressing in the big smoke? I mean, the no smoke.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, barely been out. Only actually been for one. We sort of were able to break our isolation period last Friday, so went out for one walk on Friday, and went out early in the morning. We saw two guys. All I saw was over the hedgerow was two parachutes, like proper skydiving parachutes. And it turns out there was two guys who had the full harnesses, full kit, and were running up and down with two parachutes like they just landed out of an aircraft. But that was their allotted exercise for the day.
So they hadn't jumped out of anything or off anything. They were just...
As far as I'm aware, not because, they seem to just be running up and down, but with massive, not just like the little sprint parachutes you see players train with.
They weren't like gliders and trying to like get off the ground.
They were trying to take off.
I don't think so.
like a kite.
A very flat
Tim, was it children trying to fly kites?
It wasn't, because we did go and see. There were two grown men, and I did get a good photo of one of them with the stadium in the background. So I got a nice photo of the Wembley Arch and the
man trying to take off.
These two grown men running up and down trying to take off. So that added some colour to the morning. But yeah, it's obviously we had a nice moment on Thursday evening when everybody came out for the clap, which was good.
Yeah, it was a bit more subdued round our way. I think everyone must have been clapping indoors round our way. But certainly...
So here we had lots of balconies that sort of face each other, so everybody was out, and it was kind of creating a nice bit of sound.
Oh, I
made sure to text a few friends that are right on the front line to say thank you to them as well, which was nice. And yes, it was good just to make sure they knew that was for them as much for everybody generically. But yeah, other than that, it's been working, if anything, busier than usual through all the things going on. A few things to get done, and just getting on. We had a family Zoom call on Friday night with Heather's side of the family, which was quite fun.
I need to get myself around Zoom, understand it a bit better, because it seems to be the video call of choice in this era of self-isolation. Yeah,
it was just good fun to get all the family together and have conversations. We got to see the new puppy.
When it cut off after 40 minutes?
We just had to redial, so it was just pick it up and do it again.
All right.
Peter has a professional account, so we don't cut out.
Okay. All right. Show off.
We've run because we run the church youth group for the 14 to 18s. We've done all the sessions on Zoom. We've played games on there and all sorts.
Wow. That's really cool.
Yeah,
you guys are really embracing the social aspect of self-isolation. I'm
one of Heather's friends got engaged the other week, and so they were having their kind of planning between the wedding planning. Zoom conference.
Did they live together? Do they live together already?
No. Yes. Sorry. Yes.
That's okay. That they're allowed to go and do an engagement together. There's no social distancing required there.
And
otherwise, he might have had to
flick
the ring to her.
I think he proposed prior to self-isolation restrictions.
Oh, okay.
So he was probably fine on both counts. But it was all going very well until someone who has not been allowed to forget it was tidying up the cables in the living room and decided to unplug the internet to make sure that the cables were nice and ordered and stretched. And then I was given a very angry look until the internet came back to life. And I've not been allowed to forget that one since.
Well, I talking about the sort of thanking our services and all the key workers and those sorts of things. I went for a run today. My first run since I caught the Headingley flu at the start of February, and my first run since then. And I ran past a few houses where kids had painted some rainbows and put them in the windows and put
it's a really big thing.
Workers, which was really, really sweet, and I felt really touched by that, and it spurred me on for a